Hey, I'm joined by Ben Miller, comedian, author, actor, and person with a brand new book out. Hello.
Person with a brand new book out.
Yeah.
Most importantly, yes.
That's kind of like how you like to be announced, isn't it?
Yes, everywhere I go.
Yeah.
Yes, there's a fanfare of trumpets and somebody shouts in a very loud voice, "Here is a man who has a new book out."
Hey guys, it's that guy. It's that guy with a book. He's amazing. It's called The Night I Met Father Christmas. I read it and absolutely loved it. It's amazing.
What did you like about it?
I thought it was really funny.
Good.
Genuinely laughed out loud at Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudolph's quite a funny character.
Yeah.
I have to say, don't we, for anybody who hasn't read it, which is probably everybody,
Yeah.
that Father Christmas in the story is visited by three magical creatures. He's visited by a talking reindeer, a talking Christmas tree, and finally by a giant snowman who doesn't talk, just leaves lots of awkward silences.
Yes.
And the talking reindeer, he's quite funny. I imagined him as sort of Bill Bailey. Quite sarcastic, laid back, cynical, you might say.
He is not afraid to put Father Christmas in his place.
And he has a terrible cold, which is, of course, why he has a red nose. What we learn is that he's continually passing viruses to the other reindeer, which is why they all laugh and call him names. Which
is fair enough. I mean, if you were getting a cold from somebody, you'd be like, "Come on, Rudolph, get it together, get some Kleenex."
Well, exactly. Yeah, it doesn't take much, does it? Just keep a hanky.
Exactly. Lazy, that's what it is. Yeah. Lazy reindeer. So in the story, you have Jackson, who meets Father Christmas, and they go on a bit of an adventure.
They do. Well, what happens is, when Jackson's at school, a friend of his says, "Listen, I've heard a rumour that Father Christmas doesn't exist." And Jackson says, "I mean, come on, who delivers the presents? Who rides the sleigh? Who drinks the brandy? You know, where's that, brandy gone? When you see the empty brandy glass in the morning, where's the brandy gone?" And his friend says, "Yeah, forget it. It's just something my older sister told me. I don't know why I mentioned it." But it plants a seed of doubt in Jackson's mind. So he decides to do something you should never do, stay up to meet Father Christmas. And of course, one of the reasons you shouldn't do that is that Father Christmas gets such a fright, he twists his ankle and can't deliver the rest of the presents. And Jackson decides to help him and goes with him on the sleigh to deliver the presents. While they travel on the sleigh around the world, Father Christmas tells him the story of how he became Father Christmas.
It's such a good adventure because there are also bits of the story when they're in different countries. So when they go to Ghana, I didn't know that presents are given to churches.
I know, and everyone goes to church to collect their presents in the morning, which makes it a lot easier for Father Christmas than, say, in Wales, where he has to go down every single chimney.
Every house. I bet he's like, "Oh, God, no, not again, no."
I know. Well, this is one of the things. I mean, one of the things that the book explains, the story of Father Christmas. It's almost like the origin story of Father Christmas. So how he came to do all the things that we know and love, why he goes down the chimney, why he wears red velvet, why he rides a sleigh. All these things are, you come to understand once you know Father Christmas's story.
Is it fair to say this was inspired by another story?
There are a few things that have inspired me. One of the main ones was a brilliant book by Charles Dickens called A Christmas Carol, which is about everybody will have heard of it. Scrooge. Father Christmas in this story, when he's young, he's had a hard childhood. He's been orphaned. He feels quite lonely, and he makes friends. He has a very, very special friend at the orphanage where he grows up called Gerda, and then the two of them become separated, and he becomes quite a mean guy, and he runs a toy shop at the North Pole, and guess what? At Christmas, he actually puts his prices up.
I know, yeah.
I know.
That is like the sign of meanness, isn't it?
Really, really mean. And there are a lot
also good businessman, to be fair.
Yeah, who does very well out of it. He becomes a very rich elf, but he's not happy. And one particular night, a copper elf is with a group of carol singers at the door of his shop and asks him for money. And of course, he won't give him any because he's so mean. And the copper elf puts a spell on him, and he is then visited by three characters all through the night. As I say, the reindeer, the Christmas tree, and the snowman. And they take him into his past, into his present, and into his future. So there's a big parallel there.
I've got to say, it took a while for me for the penny to drop about what was going on, and I was like, "Oh, I get it now!"
Right. Brilliant.
Far too long than it should have. But when I got it, I was like, "Yes, I understand this." And at the end, I was just super. I don't want to ruin it. Maybe I shouldn't say what I was.
It's got a good ending. It's got a really good ending because you do. All those things about Father Christmas are explained by the ending. Yes. All the different things, all the reasons that we know and love him. Why he leaves a stocking. Why he has reindeer.
So, with the book, who has been your biggest kind of tester for it? Have you tested it on your friends or your kids or like people you know, people in the street?
So I tried it out on my children, basically.
Okay.
And my test was whether my 6-year-old would sit and listen to it or not.
Oh, that's a brutal test, though, because that is quite impressive.
Yeah.
But you nailed it.
But it is designed to be, I have to say, if you're thinking of it's a great book to read aloud or to have read aloud to you by your parents.
Now, every author who comes to Fun Kids, I have a little quiz, like a quick fire quiz.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
do it with you right now, if that's okay. Just to get a
please.
feel for like who you are as an author, as a
May I
writer.
have a sip of tea before we do that?
I'll allow it, just this time, yeah. You get
sharpen me up.
Yeah. You get in your head, because...
Delicious, thank you.
Quite an important quiz, because I will be judging you quite heavily on the answers.
Okay, good.
So just
good.
Okay. Books or Kindles?
Well, I've never used a Kindle ever, so it is books for me.
Okay.
And we have been... we've been going around bookshops this morning. I've been signing. What you do when you write a book is you go to bookshops and you sign copies of them, so that if somebody comes into the shop looking for your book, they might find one of the special copies that's got your signature.
Like a golden ticket.
Like a golden ticket. So we've been doing that this morning, and who knows? We might have left some copies in a nearby bookshop. One of the listeners might go out and find one of these signed copies.
Heroes or villains?
Heroes. I mean, you've got to have a good villain. The villain, and the villain actually, weirdly, often has to be stronger and even more capable than the hero. But I do love a hero. I do love someone who overcomes all that adversity and perseveres and succeeds. I find that I do love that in a story.
Alexander Armstrong or Rowan Atkinson?
Well, I have to say Alexander Armstrong. I really... Can I say my head says Rowan Atkinson, my heart says Alexander Armstrong?
Absolutely say that.
I love them both really, really dearly. They're both tremendous people to work with. I mean, incredibly inspiring in both their ways.
Reindeer or elves?
I would choose reindeer.
Oh, I thought you'd say elves.
I know. I knew a lot of people would say elves.
Yeah.
But do you know what? I think reindeer are greatly unappreciated. And also they're beautiful. I don't know if you've ever seen them in real life. Elves, not so much.
That's true, yeah.
But reindeer, oh my word. They have those funny faces, those eyes, those doleful eyes. Elves, on the other hand.
Yeah, less good looking.
Less good looking.
Yeah. And finally, this is the big one. Salt and vinegar or cheese and onion?
Cheese and onion.
Oh, no.
Used to be salt and vinegar. And I think for most people it starts out as salt and vinegar.
Yeah.
As you get a little bit older, a little bit more sophisticated, you learn that actually the correct flavour of crisps is cheese and onion.
Right, well, I look forward to that endeavour.
Has that happened to you yet?
One day I'll get there. One day I'll be like...
You're still on salt and vinegar?
Ben Miller was right, yeah.
Oh, no.
Do I have to go through the Rocky Mountains of prawn cocktail or anything like that?
Oh, bless. Still having salt and vinegar crisps. Oh.
So one day I'll get to where you are now. Is that the ultimate goal?
Maybe. Some people never, some people go way off into the long grass into ready salted or
people are fools.
Prawn cocktail or something. I mean, you can get really lost in crisps.
But cheese and onion, you're saying I'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I mean, bless you. Give it a try.
We can only hope.
You're a bit older,
day.
not now, obviously. You probably haven't got the maturity of palate right now.
Sure.
But work your way up. Maybe try some cheese, and then try some onion.
Yeah.
And then
when
you're genuinely enjoying them as foods, then maybe try cheese and onion crisp.
My goodness, thank you for that tip off. If I've anything from today, apart from your lovely book, it's that one day I too will like cheese and onion crisp. Fingers crossed. Ben Miller, thank you so much for chatting to us on
What
Fun
a pleasure.
Quiz. And everybody should go and get your brand new book. It's out right now, The Night I Met Father Christmas.
And buy some cheese and onion crisps.
And see if you like it, and if you don't, get some salt and vinegar.